and welcome back to Badminton Insight. If you're new here, we're Greg and Jenny, two professional badminton players with the aim of helping as many of you as possible improve your game.
Now, we recently ran our first ever Badminton Insight training weekends, and after 20 hours of on-court coaching, we realised that we were often sharing the same advice. So in this video, we're going to share the 5 most common strategy mistakes that we see people making in doubles, and of course, what you should be doing instead.
We've seen these mistakes at all levels of the game, even at the professional level. And fixing just one of these mistakes could be the difference between you winning and losing an important match. So let's get straight to it with strategy mistake number 1.
We're calling this mistake the parked player. Let's explain what we mean. So this is where your partner is in a really good attacking position at the net, practically killing it, but you're parked like a car in the rear court and you're not applying pressure with them. But your partner is about to win the rally, right? So why is this bad?
Well, if your opponents are able to turn the shuttle away from your partner into this gap here, they've got to turn sideways, meaning they'll have to take the shuttle later and you'll have lost all of your advantage. Now imagine if you were applying the pressure with your partner, stood around here. If your opponent did manage to turn the shuttle away, you'll be there to kill it. But you might be wondering, what about if they lift it?
Well, hopefully your partner is playing good, aggressive shots into difficult places so that it's almost impossible to lift. You can then make the calculated choice to not need to worry about the back. And if they do somehow manage to lift it, there's a high chance it won't be a good lift due to the pressure they're under. So you should still be able to get back to this. This is what the best players do so well. They're always making moves to where the shuttle is likely to go.
Now, the parked player strategy mistake is when you're already in an attacking formation. But our next strategy mistake is for when you're going from defence into attack. And we're calling this the middle migrator. So let's explain what this is, why it's bad, and what you should do instead.
So the middle migrator happens when you've hit a good straight block or drive, and you then correctly move forwards, but you instantly migrate yourself to the middle of the court. But why is this bad?
Well, if the reply is to either tramline, you're not covering these areas and it's quite far for you to move to. So shots to either side of the court will mean you'll lose all of your advantage. The only shot you're really covering is the middle, but the most likely shot is straight.
So knowing this, what you should do instead is move more in a forwards direction like this. Here you can still get shots to the middle, but you'll be in a much better position for those straight shots. And now you'll only lose the advantage if they play it fully cross-court, which, as long as you've played a good shot, is more difficult for them to do.
You might not think you're doing this. I sometimes still find myself migrating to the middle and don't realise it. But we must have said this 10 times to various people over the training weekends, so it was definitely an important strategy mistake to include in this video.
And if you're interested in joining any future Badminton Insight training weekends and want to have priority access to tickets, as all 40 spaces sold out in less than 24 hours, then check out our Patreon.
Yeah, as well as being a way to get priority access to future events, you also get access to our Discord community to chat all things badminton with us and other players. And there's also our Patreon exclusive podcast. We'll leave a link for that in the description below if you want to check it out. And now let's move on to strategy mistake number 3, the detached defenders.
This is when you're in a side-by-side defensive position and you've hit a good lift to a corner. Now, what a lot of people do next is stay in the middle of their own halves whilst defending and not move across as a pair. Hence why we're calling this strategy mistake the detached defenders.
Yeah, similar to the parked player and middle migrator issues, this is bad because you'll be leaving big gaps on the court. If you struggle in defence, maybe you clash rackets a lot with your partner, or you feel like there's a lot of space for your opponents to hit into, you need to try adjusting your positioning depending on where you've lifted to.
To keep this as simple as possible, if you've hit a straight lift, then you should cover the straight tram line. And if you've hit a cross-court lift, then you should move over to around this position here.
And you might be thinking, I'm leaving a huge space for my opponents to hit cross-court. But as we said on our recent video on how to defend a powerful smash,
if you've played a good cross-court lift, the longest distance for the shuttle to travel is cross-court. So, as you can see, you have more time to react. The most important thing here is that you need to move together as a pair. There's no point in you moving across to this position and your partner staying in the middle of their half, as that creates even more gaps. You should almost think of it like you're tied together by a piece of rope and you can't drift apart from each other too much.
Now, our fourth strategy mistake is the nervous net player. What we see happen a lot is when your partner is at the back of the court controlling the game, and you as the net player can get a bit nervous that you've not hit a shot in a while, and you feel like you need to move backwards to help out. And you might be thinking, why is this so bad? Surely my partner needs help if they've hit a few shots in a row.
Well, it depends. If your partner is in control of the rally, then coming backwards will create huge gaps like this at the front of the court. So what should you do instead to not make this strategy mistake and make sure that you only move back at the right time?
Well, we've got 2 tips for you here, and both of these will massively help you level up your doubles game, even if you don't think you're a nervous net player.
One is to listen to the sound of your partner's shots as they strike the shuttle. Now this might sound a bit silly, but doing this means that you can adjust your positioning before your opponent plays their shot. Think of it like a running race, where the sound of your partner's shot is like the starting whistle, compared to if you only ever started when the other runners started. You'd be much later. So what exactly should you be listening for?
Well, to keep it simple, a hard sound, aka a smash or drive, typically means your opponent is going to play a hard shot in response, so you should move your positioning back slightly. In contrast, a quieter sound, like a drop shot, means your opponent is more likely to play a softer shot to the net, so here you shouldn't move back.
Yeah, and our second tip is to watch your opponent's body and racket positioning. Again, this can give a huge indication of what shot your partner is likely to play, and you can therefore adjust your position accordingly.
So for example, if your opponent is really far back and looking ready to defend a powerful smash, then you can be ready to intercept a hard drive, and you don't need to worry too much about the soft block. But if they're moving forwards with their racket in this position, then you need to stay closer in, ready for their blocks or net shots.
Looking at your opponent's body and racket positioning would be like in a running race seeing that the whistleblower is taking a big breath in before they blow the whistle, so you can get ready to go.
Now, if after using these 2 tips you're still a nervous net player, it might be that your partner needs to improve the quality of their shot. For example, they might need to play shots to the middle or tram line, like Rob's partner should have done here, to make their opponent take it later and enable Rob to stay in.
Yeah, or play it tighter to the net rather than really high over the net, where if you stayed in you would get hurt.
Okay, hopefully you've now gone from a nervous net player to a ninja net player. So let's move on to our 5th strategy mistake that could be losing you a lot of matches, and that is the return repeater.
Across the 2 Badminton Insight training weekends, we had 72 players, and we played matches against everyone. And one of the most common mistakes that we saw was people repeating the same return serves again and again.
Yeah, whether it was hitting the same push into Greg's backhand midcourt, or continually playing a net shot to the middle, hitting the same return 3, 4, or even 5 times in a row made it way too easy for us.
Yeah, I quickly moved my starting position over to be earlier to the backhand, and Jenny just jumped on the net shot straight away. And these matches made us realise that being a return repeater is a very common strategy mistake.
This means it's so important to not simply repeat the same serves or return of serves. You need to add variety. Variety will force your opponents to hesitate and just generally be a lot more worried about what you might or might not do.
So if you think you're a return repeater, but you're not sure what else you can do, then we'd highly recommend watching this video next, where we share the 5 best return of serves as well as what you should do after them.
And they were 5 strategy mistakes you might be making. We hope you found this video insightful. If you did, please drop it a like, smash the subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll hopefully see you on another video very soon. Bye!